The date is August 26, 1991. The SummerSlam crowd in Madison Square Garden, a sea of fervent humanity, is buzzing with an almost primal anticipation. In the squared circle, two figures embody the very essence of good versus evil: the towering, authoritative big boss man and the smirking, self-important Mountie. This isn't just a wrestling match, it's a meticulously crafted morality play, a high-stakes theatrical event where the villain's punishment is as crucial to the narrative as the hero's triumph. The stipulation, a jailhouse match, imbues the contest with a tangible consequence, elevating the tension beyond mere pinfalls or submissions. The Mountie, with his crisp red tunic, wide-brimmed hat, and the ever-present cattle prod, was, in this moment, the perfect villain. He was the embodiment of corrupt authority, a smug, preening antagonist who reveled in his own perceived superiority. His catchphrase, "I always get my man," delivered with a sneer, was a direct taunt to the principles of justice the boss man represented. He wasn't just an opponent, he was a foil, a necessary darkness against which the boss man's heroic light could truly shine. When the boss man finally delivered the decisive blow, sending the Mountie reeling into the proverbial jail cell, the roar that erupted was not just for a victory, but for the vanquishing of arrogance, for the triumph of good over ill-gotten power. It was quintessential Federation theater, a masterful blend of athleticism and storytelling that cemented the company's place during wrestling's golden era. Yet, this brilliantly executed, universally loathed character was so profoundly effective, so authentically provocative, that it transcended the confines of the wrestling arena. It was, astonishingly, banned in Canada, the Mountie's ostensible homeland. This controversial development, far from being a setback, was, in retrospect, a stroke of genius. Vince McMahon, ever the astute provocateur, undoubtedly reveled in the friction and the heightened interest this ban generated. It transformed a wrestling gimmick into a real-world talking point, proving the character's undeniable impact and the indelible mark it left on the cultural landscape. To understand the full scope of this remarkable wrestling persona, and the man who so adeptly brought him to life, we must delve into the compelling story of Jacques Rougeau Jr., born on June 13, 1960. Young Jacques hailed from a prodigious wrestling dynasty, a family steeped in the traditions and intricacies of the squared circle. His father, Jacques Sr., and uncle Jean-Johnny Rougeau were promoters and wrestlers, establishing a formidable lineage. His older brother, Raymond, would become his most enduring tag team partner, and even his sister, Johanny, contributed by promoting matches. This familial immersion provided Jacques with an unparalleled apprenticeship, a deep understanding of the business from every angle, long before he stepped into a professional ring himself. His early career, beginning in 1977, saw him hone his craft in various territories, including Stu Hart's legendary Stampede Wrestling in Calgary. He gained invaluable experience in the United States, finding success in Alabama and Tennessee, sharpening his skills and developing the nuanced instincts that would serve him so well on a grander stage. The year 1985 marked a pivotal moment in Jacques' career. He and Raymond signed with the World Wrestling Federation. Their debut came in February 1986, during the Australian leg of an international tour. Jacques found himself in a losing effort against Moondog Rex, but the groundwork for a successful partnership was laid. 6 days later, the Fabulous Rougeaus debuted as a team, securing a victory against the Moondogs. In their inaugural year, they swiftly established themselves as a formidable duo, racking up impressive tag team victories against established names like the Hart Foundation, Jimmy Jack and Dory Funk Jr., and even the Dream Team. Their athleticism and synchronized offense made them a compelling, if initially unassuming, presence in the burgeoning tag team division. A tantalizing glimpse of championship gold arrived at the Montreal Forum on August 10, 1987, when the Fabulous Rougeaus briefly upset the Hart Foundation for the tag team championship. However, the decision was controversially reversed due to a disqualification, with the championship returned to the Hart Foundation. This near miss, while frustrating, only served to underscore their potential and build anticipation for their future endeavors. After 2 years as fan favorites, the Fabulous Rougeaus underwent a transformative heel turn, a masterstroke that would define their most memorable run. They began to be announced with the subtly irritating declaration, "From Canada, but soon to relocate to the United States." This geographical ambiguity, coupled with their intentionally annoying entrance song, immediately grated on the nerves of American fans. Managed by the perpetually conniving Jimmy Hart, they adopted a mockingly patriotic persona, waving tiny American flags with a sneering condescension that infuriated audiences. According to Jacques, this widespread antipathy from American fans was the very impetus for Vince McMahon's decision to turn them heel, a testament to their ability to elicit a strong, visceral reaction. They engaged in feuds with popular babyface teams like the Killer Bees, the Hart Foundation, the Bushwhackers, and the Rockers, solidifying their status as hated antagonists. Their ability to generate genuine heat was indicative of their commitment to the characters, a willingness to be truly despised. The Fabulous Rougeaus dissolved in early 1990 with Ray Rougeau's retirement. Jacques took a year-long hiatus from the federation, a period of introspection and reinvention that would lead to his most iconic and controversial persona. In January 1991, he re-emerged once again under the tutelage of Jimmy Hart, but this time he was reborn as the Mountie. This new character was a brazen caricature, a corrupt cattle prod-wielding member of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. His boasts that he always gets his man were a direct sarcastic twist on the institution's revered motto, immediately establishing him as a villainous parody of a national symbol. The cattle prod became his signature weapon, used not just in matches, but in a post-match ritual of handcuffing, berating, and shocking his defeated opponents. The storyline justification was that Jacques Rougeau had actually undergone the rigorous training to become a Mountie, thus granting him a distorted sense of authority. This gimmick was an instant success in generating heat, and Jacques, with his natural charisma and ability to embody arrogance, played it to perfection. The Mountie's in-ring debut in January 1991 set the stage for his rapid ascent. His first pay-per-view appearance at the 1991 Royal Rumble saw him defeat Coco Beware. At WrestleMania 7, he secured another significant victory over Tito Santana, once again employing his shock stick. His feud with the Big Boss Man was central to his early singles run, climaxing in the aforementioned Jailhouse Match at SummerSlam. While the Boss Man's victory delivered the necessary heroic moment, it was the Mountie's odious performance that made that victory so satisfying for the audience. The Mountie also featured prominently in multi-man matches, including a victory alongside Ric Flair, the $1 Million Man, and the Warlord against Roddy Piper, Bret Hart, Virgil, and Davey Boy Smith at the 1991 Survivor Series. The Mountie gimmick was so incendiary that it eventually sparked legal action in Canada, forcing Jacques Rougeau to abandon the persona entirely when performing on home soil. Stripped of his name, hat, and trademark jacket, he wrestled under his real name while retaining fragments of the character, including the red shirt, black pants, and boots, like echoes of a persona outlawed by its own nation. Vince McMahon didn't flinch at the backlash. He embraced it, preserving the gimmick not despite the controversy, but precisely because of it. Knowing outrage was the most reliable currency in wrestling, the pinnacle of the Mountie's singles career arrived on January 17, 1992, when he pulled off a shocking upset victory over Bret Hart to win the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. The storyline reason for Hart's loss was the flu, though in reality contract negotiations were at play. This championship reign, however, was fleeting. Just 2 days later, at the 1992 Royal Rumble, he lost the title to Roddy Piper, marking one of the shortest Intercontinental Championship reigns in history. A rematch on Saturday night's main event saw Piper cleverly counter the Mountie's shock stick with a shockproof rubber vest, turning the Mountie's own weapon against him. This comedic yet decisive defeat effectively concluded the Mountie's run at the very top of the singles division. For the subsequent months, the Mountie primarily operated in the undercard. He was part of losing efforts at WrestleMania 8 and SummerSlam in multi-man tag matches. A feud with Sergeant Slaughter, sparked by the Mountie shocking him with an extra-large cattle prod, played out primarily on house shows without a definitive television conclusion. By October 1992, after a swift loss to World Heavyweight Champion Bret Hart, Jacques Rougeau departed the federation, seemingly bringing the Mountie chapter to a close. However, the story was far from over. He returned in July 1993 and shortly thereafter formed a new, equally compelling tag team with Pierre Ouellet named the Quebecers. This new iteration was an evolution of the Mountie theme, albeit with a more casual costume and an emphasis on bullying behavior. Managed by the flamboyant Johnny Polo, the Quebecers quickly established themselves as a dominant force in the tag team division, engaging in memorable feuds with popular teams such as the Steiner Brothers, Men on a Mission, and the Head Shrinkers. Their power-brawling style combined with their arrogant attitudes made them compelling heels. They went on to win the Tag Team Championship 3 times, a testament to their effectiveness and the trust the company placed in them. Jacques also participated in the main event of the 1993 Survivor Series as a member of the Foreign Fanatics team, showcasing his continued prominence. Their rivalry with Bret and Owen Hart culminated in a thrilling encounter at the Royal Rumble, where the Quebecers retained the Tag Team Championship. At WrestleMania 10, they successfully defended their titles against Men on a Mission via countout. While they briefly lost and regained the belts to Men on a Mission at house shows in March 1994, they ultimately dropped the championship to the Head Shrinkers on an episode of Raw, signaling the beginning of the end for the team. The Quebecers officially broke up at a house show in the Montreal Forum on June 25, 1994. In a dramatic turn of events, Pierre and Johnny Polo betrayed Rougeau, attacking him in front of his hometown crowd. This emotional moment led to a heartwarming intervention from Raymond Rougeau, who by then was an announcer for the Federation's French-language broadcasts. This angle ignited a heavily promoted first retirement match for Jacques Rougeau, drawing a sellout crowd of over 16,000 to the Montreal Forum on October 21, 1994. Accompanied by Raymond, Jacques famously used Queen's "We Are the Champions" as his theme music for the night, securing a victory over Pierre with a seated tombstone piledriver. It was a fitting, emotional send-off for a beloved hometown hero. Jacques Rougeau's post-Federation career saw him reunite with Pierre in World Championship Wrestling as the Amazing French Canadians, even scoring a rare clean win over Hollywood Hogan in Montreal. He later returned to the Federation as the Quebecers in 1998 before retiring in 2011 after a final match with his son. A promoter, speaker, and teacher, Rougeau evolved from clean-cut hero to infamous Mountie, leaving behind a legacy of memorable characters, controversy, and storytelling mastery in wrestling's golden era.